All right, so brief momentary delay while my wife popped in and asked me a question. So I'm gonna hit play again. I think it handles HDR great. I think BenQ did a good job recalibrating how they performed HDR. I'm gonna go into settings here and play around with a little bit the settings that I have finessed with myself, and I'm just gonna have it pointing at the screen, so hopefully you guys don't mind getting some more demo time. Here we go. So picture mode, I'm gonna zoom in just a little bit. So there's a few different picture modes here. You've got bright, just avoid bright at all costs. It produces a really ugly green washed out image. Vivid TV is very saturated. I think it looks great. Creates a very, like I said, like kind of a Samsung-y kind of bright saturated image. That's the brightest mode. I think Art did a really good review on the HD2550 and highlighted the brightest, the best brightest. And if you're gonna get this projector, you're gonna be focusing on a bright, punchy image with the tiny trade-off of color accuracy. Vivid TV is a great mode for that. I personally like cinema mode for movies, and these are the settings that I've calibrated it to. I haven't done in-depth color calibrations, but brightness to 52, contrast to 47. One thing that is a little bit different compared to the HD2550 is it doesn't have a Cinema Master setting. It doesn't allow you to do the 4K pixel enhancer, the flesh tone, and the color enhancer that was available in the HD2550. And I think that's just the way it was marketed. The HD2550 was more for cinematic, you know, the colors the way the director intended, that type of marketing. This is more for fun, for sports, for just overall entertainment. So I think that was a conscious decision by BenQ to leave that setting out. Now, side note, if you want to know if your projector is projecting 4K content while we're on this screen, this is going to be where you would go, is in, let me back up one. So when you go to menu, that picture setting, the first one, you go to advanced, and then if HDR content is playing on your screen, it's going to have HDR brightness and color gamut. If just normal content is playing non-HDR, it is going to have gamma selection as a selection there. So just FYI. Now, out of the box, brilliant color was set to on. That's the default for cinema on the HD2550. Cinema mode was set to off. So again, just another way BenQ is really just trying to get the most brightness. Brilliant color increases brightness of the projector by about 20 to 30% in my experience. I do also like light mode set to, oops, I'm kind of drifting there looking at the screen. Light mode set to normal, default is Smart Eco, and it does produce the same brightness on certain images, but if there's a dark image, I do notice a slight shift to a less light output. Smart Eco does extend the life of your bulb, but I just want like a more consistent image, so that's just FYI. Cute sloths. Color gamut. I have it on auto, and I think that this projector, the changes, I think it was 1.0.3 on the HD2550. They changed the way they handled HDR just a little bit with their calibrations, and I think it's a lot better. It's a lot more natural. Auto on this does select BT 2020. On the HD2550, I recommended to switch to BT 709 color gamut just by default, but I actually think that this one does a better job in just auto, so I feel confident recommending the BT 2020 color space on HDM. If I do switch it to BT 709, it does create a little bit more of a natural color tone. So that's just personal preference. I mean, if you are getting a BT 2020 color space sent to your projector from your source, like your Xbox, your Blu-ray player, what have you, this will do a good job trying to display that, and just try to display those other colors. If it can't, I mean, it does come across as a little bit color saturated, but if you wanted to go back to the BT 709 for a more iPhone-esque natural color, that's certainly your prerogative if you want to. So other than that, trying to think what other settings I went into here. Silence mode, like the HT2550, this is actually a mode where you can go in and it turns the pixel shifting off on the projector, so you are getting just a native 1080p image. It does pretty much turn the projector completely silent. By the way, this projector is really quiet. I don't think you're gonna have any issues hearing it. This is really, the volume on this movie right now is really, really quiet, and I cannot, nope, I can't hear the projector like at all. But if you do go into silence mode, this just turns off the XPR shifting, and yeah, I don't really bother with it because I want a 4K image. Other than that, just some general settings that I don't think you'll have to really mess around with all that much. On the info side, you can see that this does a great job handling 24 hertz content. Yeah. So that's that. So in general, I'm trying to think of anything else to say about this projector. Sports are great. Let's turn the, let's see what's on TV here. Watch TV. Darkness. So I'm going to switch over and see if there's a basketball game on. There's baseball. So I'm on cinema mode. So for just general TV watching, I really like the football mode. Oh yeah, so that's another thing. Let's talk about the different modes. So football mode, I actually like in general the most, just for a balance of brightness. One thing to note, however, is that in every mode, pretty much, the gamma. So let's show you where the gamma is, because I think that's going to be important. The gamma. So you can see now this is non-HDR content. And here's the gamma selection option. Now, pretty much on every mode, the gamma selection BenQ is set to default. Let's go there. I personally think that this overcooks the whites just a little bit, and actually not bad at all. It does create a brighter image. If I was in dire need of brightness, I would select this, but personally, just for like that balance of brightness and a nice contrasted image, I like this. Tends to veer towards 2.4, and I think that just creates a more natural. You can now see the wrinkles on the white jerseys instead of just being all white, if that makes sense. Color temperature, I didn't really mess with that. That was great, set to normal. You do have a noise reduction. I just leave that in middle. I think that was the default. But overall, just a great, I don't feel like anything's oversaturated. I think it's bright. I think it's punchy. Let's see if you can go to TNT and see if a basketball game's playing right now. Nope, commercial break. There we go. So in general, closing out, I really like this projector. It's I think it's a great follow-up to the HT2550. My reservations are going to be the same that I had with the HT2550, where the placement flexibility of this isn't great. You have a 10% offset, or I guess 110% offset on the projector. Whoops, I'm going to close out of this. You have a no lens shift as well. I would have liked to have seen lens shift. Luckily, I was able to mount this exactly where I needed it to get a nice square image and not have to resort to Keystone. I think I haven't tested 3D on it yet. I know 3D Bob's going to kill me, but I do think that the increase, I did test it on the HT2550 and I like 3D on that projector. This one, I think that the calibrated lumens are about 20 to 30% better, and so that can only help 3D. I think 3D is going to be amazing on this, especially sitting in the front row on a 160-inch image. So yeah, I mean, those would be my reservations. I think that BenQ just nailed it with what they were trying to do with this projector, creating something that would really, what am I trying to say? Really appeal. There we go. to people who are in an ambient lighting setting, people who are just home entertainment projector. But like I said before, I'm in a home theater, dedicated home theater, and I'm seriously considering just leaving this up and not putting my HT2550 back up, because I'm only watching movies in a dedicated environment, like light controlled, complete black environment, probably 20% of the time. So yeah, those are my thoughts. And I think that in the future, I don't think it's going to happen this year, but the throw, I would like to see this in a shorter throw, because I think that people who are going to be wanting that type of home entertainment, whether it's be gaming, sports, or whatever, they're going to want a shorter throw projector than this. But I wouldn't hold out on this as with that in mind. So I told you I was going to ramble on this review, and I kind of did. So peace. Johnson in game 4 with a nice job the other day. Yeah, and that's a player, the defensive